of Parliament and officials from the Turkish embassy at the Atletico Lusaka Sports Complex. Madam Speaker informed the House that honourable members of Parliament had won the match by 4 goals to 2 and were given a trophy.
And so, Madam Speaker, on behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, congratulated the team for the victory, and in conclusion, she informed the House that another match between former and current members of Parliament was scheduled for 29th July 2023, and the venue of the said match would be communicated in due course.
After that announcement, Madam Speaker did make a ruling. She did remind the House that on Friday, 23rd June 2023, when the House was considering the reports of the Committee on Transport, Works and Supply, and Mr. L. Semumba, Member of Parliament for Nakonde, was debating, Mr. O. Amtike, Member of Parliament for Mongu Central, raised on a point of order as to whether Mr. Semumba, MP, was in order to assert that Kenneth Kaunda International Airport was voted the best international airport in Africa without laying evidence on the table to substantiate his assertion.
Madam Speaker went on to inform the House that she had recourse to the relevant verbatim record in order to ascertain what transpired, and so she stated that she also had recourse to the relevant verbatim record of the statement made by Mr. Amtike MP when raising his point of order.
And in rendering her ruling, Madam Speaker stated that though honourable members enjoyed freedom of speech and debate in the House, freedom was not absolute because it was subject to the law and the rules of the House. She further stated that one such rule was a requirement for members to debate factually and referred to Standing Order 65-1B of the National Assembly of Zambia, Standing Orders 2021.
Madam Speaker stated that Mr. Amtike MP had informed the House that the statement by Mr. Semumba MP that KK International Airport was voted the best airport in Africa was not factual, and went on to assert that Cape Town International Airport was voted the best airport in Africa. In so doing, Madam Speaker observed that Mr. Amtike MP had also produced any evidence to substantiate his statement.
From the foregoing, the Madam Speaker stated that both members did not provide any evidence to support their assertions and therefore reached Standing Order 65-1B and were therefore out of order.
Madam Speaker further observed that the tendency of members on both sides of the House to make unsubstantiated statements had continued and had the potential to mislead the House and the public at large. And so she therefore reminded honourable members to avoid making unsubstantiated statements in the House.
After that ruling by Madam Speaker, matters of urgent public importance were raised. The first one did come from Mr. Mukosa. This was on an article in the News Diggers newspaper that NAPSA system was hacked, and this matter of urgent public importance was inadmissible.
The other matter of urgent public importance came from Mr. E. Tembo, and this was on the subject matter, the D145 road that was in deplorable state, and so this matter was also inadmissible.
The last matter of urgent public importance that was raised yesterday did come from Mr. Andeleki on the complaints of gassing that took place in 2019 and 2020. And this matter of urgent public importance was inadmissible. And after that, the House went on to consider questions for oral answer as number 385 to 389, understanding order number 3.
Thereafter, the House went on to consider one committee report, a report that was moved by Bwana Mkubwa, Member of Parliament, Mr. Warren Wambazi, urging the House to adopt the report of the Public Accounts Committee on the report of the Auditor General on the accounts of the Republic for the financial year ended 31st December 2021 for the second session of the 13th National Assembly laid on the table of the House on Monday, 17th July 2023. And so this report was adopted.
After consideration of that particular report, there was resumption of committee work on the National Prosecution Authority Bill, National Assembly Bill number 7 of 2023, which was considered in committee. The other bill that was considered in committee yesterday was the Human Rights Bill, National Assembly Bill number 8 of 2023. The other bill that was considered was the Environmental Management Bill, National Assembly Bill number 6 of 2023. It was also considered in committee. And Lastly, the Zambia Institute of Valuation Surveyors Bill, National Assembly Bill number 9 of 2023, was equally considered in the meeting.
Thereafter, there being no further debate, the House adjourned accordingly at 18:58 hours. So that is the fiscal business that was considered on the floor of the House yesterday, 19th July 2023. And so just now we shift our attention and look at today's order paper.
Absolutely. In a few minutes' time, we do expect the Speaker's procession to make its way through the chamber. But before that, a quick look at today's order paper. The House is expected to consider 10 questions for oral answer understanding order number 74 and consideration of 4 bills that passed committee stage yesterday. And this time around, they will be considered at a report stage. And these bills include the Environmental Management Bill, National Assembly Bill number 6 of 2023, the National Prosecution Authority Bill, National Assembly Bill number 7 of 2023.
Another bill is the Human Rights Commission Bill, National Assembly Bill number 8 of 2023. The House is also expected to consider the Zambia Institute of Valuation Surveyors Bill, National Assembly Bill number 9 of 2023.
Those are the bills that will be considered on the floor of the House at report stage. Time now to look at some of the questions for oral answer understanding order number 74 that will be considered on the floor of the House. We do expect Mr. Mabenga, a Mulobezi Member of Parliament, to ask the Minister of Justice a question in 2 parts, whether the government has any plans to construct a magistrates court building in Mulobezi district. If so, when the plans will be implemented, and if there are no such plans, why?
Another question will come from Chitambo Member of Parliament, Mr. Remember Mutale. He's posing his question to the Vice President. He wants to find out a question in 3 parts, whether the government is aware that the road network in Katidukudula resettlement scheme in Chitambo district is in deplorable state, and in the B part of the question he wants to find out if so what measures the government is taken to ease the movement of people and goods with and out of the resettlement scheme. And in the C part of the question, the Member of Parliament wants to find out when the rehabilitation works of the road network will commence.
We expect Mr. Siachi Sumo of Lufanyama constituency to ask the Minister of Agriculture when the government will allocate land to farmers who were displaced from the Luswisi farming block and other farms in Lufanyama parliamentary constituency, whether the government is aware that there are some investors in displaced farmers and have not developed their farms since 2017.
Another question will come from Sikongo Member of Parliament, Mr. Simushi, and he's posing his question to the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development. He wants to find out whether the Lusaka City Council had any outstanding employee loan deduction remittances to the National Savings and Credit Bank NATSAVE as of November 2022. And in the B part of the question, he wants to find out if so, how much money was outstanding. In the B part of the question, the Member of Parliament wants to find out what measures have been taken to remit the money. And in the D part of the question, he wants to find out whether there are any other councils countrywide that owed the bank as of date at A.
The lawmaker will ask another question, that's question 396. He's asking the Minister of Education whether the government has any plans to construct additional classroom blocks and staff houses at the following schools which were updated to combined basic school in Mulobezi district, that's Bwina, Kamanga and Nawinda. If so, when the plans will be implemented, and if there are no such plans, why?
Another question will come from Rufwanyama Member of Parliament, Mr. Siachisumo. He's posing his question to the Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development. He wants to find out whether the government has any plans to construct roads in farming area allocated to ex-miners in Lusiwishi Ward in Rufwanyama Parliamentary Constituency. And in the B part of the question, he wants to find out if so, when the plans will be implemented.
So those are just some of the questions that are expected to be considered on the floor of the House today. 10 questions for oral answer understanding order number 74, and of course later on the House will consider 4 governing bills at a report stage. Just about now, we await the arrival of the Speaker's procession, and that will signify the start of business for today, Thursday, 20th July 2023. Remember, at the time of adjournment, we'll be here to give you a recap of what will have transpired in the House. Just now, we cross over to the floor of the House.
Madam Speaker. Almighty God, who in your infinite wisdom and providential goodness has appointed the offices of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to consider with your abundant favor us, your servants, whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of such important responsibilities in this land. Let your blessing descend upon us here in Parliament assembled, and grant that we may, as in your presence, treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation, in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country, and of those whose interests you have committed to our church. Amen. I have permitted the Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development to make a ministerial statement. The Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity to render a ministerial statement. I wish to thank you for giving me this opportunity to render this very important statement on government's effort to move traders to their correct and designated trading places. Madam Speaker, fellow members of Parliament, street vending has been one of the major activities in the informal economy of our country, and the ever-growing population has led to an increase exponentially in this activity called street vending. It is seen as a means of earning income for those who are trading on the street, and it has also served those who are unable to secure gainful employment. Various reasons, Madam Speaker, have been put forward for those who are perpetuating street vending as justification for trading on the street. These include, among others, the ease of customer access, inadequate trading places, inadequate essential services including water and sanitation facilities. Madam Speaker, the problem of street vending is not a new one in our country. The problem can be traced back to the post-colonial era, which became more pronounced after the 1991 following the liberalization of our economy. In the late 1990s, Madam Speaker, the government then constructed the ultra-modern market, the new Soweto market in Lusaka, to cater for street vendors. The construction was preceded by the relocation of all the vendors who used to run their daily businesses in the spaces allocated for them in the new market infrastructure. Initially, Madam Speaker, the vendors fought to be allocated stores in the market. But consequentially, most vendors turned to the street as the fees of operating in the markets were slightly high for most vendors and that they couldn't afford. Hence, those that could afford to pay occupied the stores, and those that could not decided to go back on the street. In 1991, the government initiated a campaign to remove street vendors from the central business district of Lusaka and all other towns in our country. in order to occupy the established and formal markets. This campaign was motivated by the need to create a conducive environment, promote better health, and increase security for the town or urban populations and also the vendors. However, Madam Speaker, it was in 2002 that the government, with the help of the law enforcement agents, such as the paramilitary, police personnel, managed to get rid of the vendors and took them off the street back into the markets. The law enforcement officers were stationed in heavily trafficked parts of Lusaka for quite a while to ensure that the vendors did not get back on the street. Madam Speaker, despite these efforts, government failed to achieve the objective because of several reasons, among them inadequate market or trading places with few available spaces, lacking services, as I said earlier on, of water supply, sanitation, electricity, and refuse disposal. This, Madam Speaker, fellow members of Parliament, led to the traders going back to the streets. On December 8, 2020, the Zambian Republican President then, Mr. Rupia Bwezani-Banda, may his soul rest in peace, officially opened the new Soweto market. During this official opening, he urged street vendors to move to the markets and utilize the infrastructure that government had put up instead of trading on the street. The president warned that the law would be used to pursue those that were found defying it and going back to the street. He noted that although traders faced many challenges, there was a need for them to take up the spaces that were available in the constructed markets. Madam Speaker, in late 2017 and early 2018, Lusaka was faced with the widening cholera epidemic, and at that time, the then President Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu called the police and the paramilitary to raise all makeshift stores in the city and remove the street vendors from the central business district. In addition, the government added stricter provisions to Zambia's Street Vending and Nuisances Act by passing a statutory instrument, SI number 12 of 2018 on street vending and the public nuisance, which expressly prohibited street vending and classified it did classify it as a public nuisance, making it an offense for anyone to trade in undesignated places. The SI number 12 was meant to respond to various challenges arising from street vending, including but not limited to the following: the indiscriminate disposal of waste, blocking of drainages, erection of makeshift stores and booths, preparations and selling of foodstuff in an unsafe environment, illegal sale of intoxicating substances, including liquor, non-payment of council levies, and the deterioration of public health and safety standards. I am happy today that I think the minister who signed this SI may be sitting with us in this house at that time. Madam Speaker, in a normal society, there will be certain things that should not and also must not be negotiated or compromised. These include inter alia, state security, the laws of the land, public order, and last but not least, public health. Madam Speaker, despite these efforts, and following the unfortunate gutting of the Soweto market back in the year, the market was burnt and displaced many traders, and that resulted to the phenomenon of street vending to worsen. To bring sanity to street vending, Madam Speaker, while working to restore the gutted Soweto market, the government at that time, fairly so, decided, according to law, to designate two streets, Lumumba Road, Freedom Way, South End, as market streets, where they allowed people to stay and trade there whilst waiting for the repair of the burnt Soweto market. This, Madam Speaker, resulted into others taking advantage of this noble gesture by the government then, and they also left the market stores. They left the designated trading places. Madam Speaker, the issue of deserting the designated trading places spread like wildfire in our country, became malignant, even in areas where this crisis did not exist. In many of our towns in our country, people decided to vacate markets and preferred to go and work and do their trading off the wall or on the street. It was worst in the major cities of our country, Chipata, Ndola, Kitwe, and all other municipalities. Furthermore, and worse still, Madam Speaker, we got challenged because where they decided to go and trade from, there was absence of sanitary facilities, to be specific, toilets, to service the high traffic of human beings. Madam Speaker, this situation became aggravated every day that passed, with our citizens, due to lack of toilet facilities, using Chibuku parks to answer the call of nature for solid waste and dumping indiscriminately anywhere and everywhere. And the councils became overwhelmed and they could not match the generation of waste. Waste still, not just waste, but human fecal matter, which was being dumped here, there, everywhere, including phone booths that were not secured when the owners knocked off. Madam Speaker, the swamping of our citizens into the central business districts now then created a new but more complicated challenges that can easily affect state security and order. And it saw the heightening of criminal activities and the sale of undesired illicit alcohol, as well as psychotropic substances such as marijuana or chamba or dobo, heroin, cocaine, powder, and also mugging of citizens. People started getting unsafe, feeling unsafe, because these consumers of the illicit psychotropic substances and alcohol, legal and illegal alcohol, did not only desensitize to the plight of other citizens, they also became inebriated continuously, and most of them have moved now into a state of mind that we commonly refer to as junkies, who disturb peace for our citizens. Madam Speaker, crimes ranging from petty pickpocketing to knifing, mugging people, have kept the Zambia police busy over this period, where children who are juveniles have become delinquent, and they drink endlessly, they get high, they seize or black out, they wake up, and now their domicility is actually described as living off the wall. That is what has become their normal life. Madam, the problem of street vending also reached its record high during the time of the previous government. And I want to be excused because at this point I'm not passing blame to anyone, but stating things as they are. Because in the previous government, they started allocating land in the central business districts and in road reserves, erecting of clutters or containers, which they described as temporary developments, became the order of the day. And they did allocate pieces of land that should have been managed by local authorities, but being managed by political cadres, giving out spaces ranging from telephone money booths to these clutter containers that have been welding on walkways very close to the road. An example that I can give, Madam Speaker, of this, what I'm trying to describe, can be found easily on Dida and Kimati Road, opposite the intercity bus station, where there's literally no space between the tarmac and where these clutter containers were being built. This saw everyone else looking this as an opportunity to go and set up shop. Madam Speaker, as if we were to add salt to injury, they allocated places on Bombay drainage, building shops on Bombay drainage. And as I'm talking to you right now, plastic has given a blockage to the well-intended Bombay drainage that should have been servicing water management and reduce flooding in our city. Madam, in our continued effort to address this growing problem of vending, the ministry that I'm privileged to run or to preside over, the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, in the last quarter of 2022, directed the Lusaka City Council to undertake an audit of available market spaces or stands in Lusaka, as well as conduct a head count of all street vendors in the Central Business District. This was done. Further engagements were made or undertaken with the vendors themselves through their respective associations to build consensus and find a long-lasting solution to this health-threatening misadventure. The findings, as indicated, I beg your pardon, Madam Speaker, indicated that as of May 2023, a total number of trading spaces in Lusaka stood at 11,039. Of these 6,624 were occupied. This means that 4,992 of these trading spaces remained unoccupied. Against the head count of 4,415 street vendors, it means that if these complied, we would have a lesser problem, and it would be easy for us to accommodate our people, whom we dearly love, to go into designated trading areas, even if it were to be temporal, while government is organizing itself to broaden the capacity of market or trading or designated trading places to accommodate all those who are in the business, the economic business of selling. Madam, on 13th January 2023, measures were announced to mitigate the outbreak of two pandemics by the Ministry of Health. A counterpart, the Minister of Health, did announce that there was a possible outbreak of cholera, having recorded one case in Chipata, or is it Vubui, and that COVID had also started coming back, and therefore we needed, she moved me as minister responsible for local government to prepare sanitary conditions in all the trading places in Lusaka. So in line with the provisions, Madam Speaker, of SI number 12 of 2018, I, as Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, further directed Lusaka City Council and all the local authorities in our country to remove the street vendors from the designated trading places, from the undesignated trading places. I beg your pardon. Madam, this statement had been preceded by another statement which Her Honor the Vice President, at her reopening ceremony of the Soweto market, that her desire was to see that all those who had been displaced by the inferno or the fire of 2018 must go back as the market was now ready. Very few heeded to this advice, and they continued to sell. Madam, after we made this decree, the ministry was going to start relocating our traders on a Monday, 16th of January, 2023, and 2022, I beg your pardon. And on the eve weekend of that action, I was directed by the President of the Republic of Zambia, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, that he felt we had not done sufficient consultation to act on this government desire for our people to go back into the designated trading places. And the directive was that to go out and consult more, get a buy-in from as many stakeholders as possible. And so now, we decided that we were going to follow as directed. Being the obedient minister that I am, we first met the Council of Churches in Zambia, and we presented our issue. The Council of Churches in Zambia informed us that they would get back to us with their position. Fortunately, the position was in the affirmative and also in writing. And they were very clear that much as we have to follow the law, we must do it in a manner that is humane and in a manner that provides alternatives for those that may be lacking. We consulted with the councillors. We had a symposium, dedicated symposium, with councillors and those MPs from Lusaka, where the problem was exacerbated. And at that meeting, the consultative meeting, Madam Speaker, a communique was signed by all those in attendance from both divides of the two major political parties, being the PF and the UPND, that this was a necessary action to take. We consulted the NGOCC, we consulted other churches, and all of them that we consulted indicated that we must move our citizens to the designated trading places in a humane manner. Madam Speaker, to add more salt to injury to this issue of undesignated trading places practice, we also saw a proliferation of our citizens in Freedom Way who have made the entire street a garage where cars are being repaired 24/7. You go there in the morning, you find they're repairing ball joints, even overhauling an engine in town. We have engaged these. Unfortunately, they have seen the sense of bringing back sanity among ourselves and not to heighten this phenomenon anymore. And they are willing to move, and they are appealing on us to find an area where they can conduct their business. And I, as Minister privilegedly so, responsible for this, made an undertaking that we will address that matter. This particular activity, Madam Speaker, increased contravening of traffic rules because bus drivers faced congestion. People who came to do business in the CBD could not find parking, and therefore it was total confusion. It was like Gehenna, Madam Speaker, or Sodom and Gomorrah. Madam Speaker, again we had another issue where the CBD became a showroom for automobiles. People started displaying cars for sale, and they would park, disturbing those who were reporting to work on a daily basis. And we have since engaged them. In our consultative fashion, I took the Association of Motor Traders to my colleague, the Minister of Transport, about 7 months ago. This is work that has been going on behind the scenes, and requested him to accommodate them behind the EML or Impala service station open space that belong to the Zambia Railways for them to do their trading of brand new second-hand motor vehicles behind EML and between the rail line and the Impala service station. This is almost getting accomplished, and this is our way of trying to bring order back to our good selves. Madam Speaker, I would like to go and end by making an appeal to my honorable colleague, Member of Parliament, to buy in this particular move that we have made, because it is in line with the law that is established. And obviously, to migrate from one culture to another causes a bit of instability. It causes a little bit of anxiety. It causes a little bit of uncertainty. And I would like to assure the honorable members that if we join hands on this matter, We will be remembered as one group of people that were on the right side of the divide of the argument. And that there came a time when matters that affect people whose interests and aspirations we are here to serve, we can be unanimous in this. And therefore, on behalf of the President of the Republic of Zambia, Her Honor the Vice President, the Cabinet, and indeed my own behalf, I am on my knees, not pleading for clemency, no, but pleading for you to see the reason why we must move in this direction, while filling in the gaps that may exist as a result of this cultural shift. I would like to now terminate by saying, once we get it right, as we seem to have gotten it right in Lusaka, what come may, our desire is to sanitize the whole country, the entire country, so that we can be proud once again that we preserved state security, we decided to walk alongside the law established in the spirit of brotherly love and sisterly affection. We sat together on this particular day and agreed that we will look after our vendors, we will look at our citizens, not only vendors, the unemployed, the sick, the less privileged. And as you now ask me questions, I would like to preempt you by saying the cry has been that most of these people are orphans, heads of homes. They are widows. Yes, it's true. It is very true. But what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Even in the Soweto market, they are widows. They are orphans. And these contribute to the successful operations of the council, which council we found limping and limping very badly. Just today, Madam Speaker, I want to confirm that the new Soweto market, and I want to thank the former vendors for that move, the new Soweto market admitted 300 traders from the street. And our manager there has established an extra 34 depots for them to keep their merchandise during hours of darkness. The city market, which was gutted, has also admitted today 300 traders. And our manager there, Mr. Kambeu, has indicated that today alone, from the council levies, they made a net collection of 30,000 kwacha more, which money is supposed to go to the council. It is for this reason that I stand before you, Madam Speaker, and all the members of Parliament, requesting that we hold our hands on this matter. And that is not to say they cannot ask any questions on points of clarifications if it will serve the purpose of us moving in unison together as we look after this country. I want to thank you most sincerely.
Thank you very much. Honorable members are now free to ask questions on points of clarification on the ministerial statement given by the Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development. The Honorable Member for Bwengo.
Thank you very much, Honorable Madam Speaker. Minister, thank you very much for this touching ministerial statement. This is very good, and I want to please thank you extremely very much. And with the people of Bwengo, we say thank you for this move you've undertaken here in this country. I think this move, Minister, which you've taken, there is no sane Zambian who can say no to it. Everybody is going to simply say, Minister, well done, and your government. unless somebody who is insane. Minister, we thank you very much. Minister, you told this House and the country at large this afternoon that we have enough trading space, okay, in the markets. And people were saying that they are not yet complete, okay, in terms of renovation. Now it brings me back what transpired on that particular market. That money was contributed the time when that market was burnt. Please tell this country today, where did that money go? How was it also utilized? Thank you so much, Honorable Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Madam Speaker, thank you for the opportunity once again, and thank you for the kind words, Honorable Member of Parliament for Wengwa. The question has got me on my back foot, Madam Speaker, and I may require time to go back and check exactly the utilization of the money that was donated. Unfortunately, today's ministerial statement had a different thrust and different flavor, and it was serving the purpose of appealing to the House to work with me on this path to sanitize the country. Should you direct me to bring the answer, I'll gladly do it, but it has to be researched because it's not on my fingertips.
Thank you very much. If the Honorable Minister wants to go and do some research and come back, that is still okay. But bearing in mind that we are rising on the 28th of July 2023, I'm wondering why there are no indications on my left. I'm thinking of balancing the debate. Okay, the Honorable Member for Chasefu.
Thanks so very much, Madam Speaker, for allowing the special people of Chasefu to add their voice on this important ministerial statement. Honorable Minister of Law Government, I want to salute you. Most sincerely, you have demonstrated that indeed, when we put in place good leadership, they make bold decisions for the benefit of the country. I've been brought up in the law government system, and I understand what you are trying to do. These laws have not been put in place today, but it is over time, Madam Speaker, that we move forward and backwards. This good move, Honorable Minister of Law Government, you have taken, what measures have you put in place in order to sustain this operation so that we don't go back to what happened before, so that we sustain the cleanliness and sanity in the cities of Zambia? Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Madam Speaker, this question by the honorable colleague sits right at the center of who we are, our culture, our values, what we stand for, how serious we are. And to change those from one end to another is not an easy matter. And therefore, we will sustain this position by continuously reminding our people the benefits that accrue to order. The laws, Madam Speaker, that exist had been hung in the wardrobe. All we have done is to operationalize the law. We have not established the law, as the member has said. we have decided that these laws that have been gathering dust must be used. Madam, the reason why laws are put in place, why we are called legislators, is to regulate man, is to control man. It's a control mechanism, the law. It is also a deterrent. That's why there are penalties. And maybe I can take advantage to show that what my colleagues under PF did was commendable. Because the SI that I referred to, it actually did stipulate, and I invite you to read the National Markets and Bus Station Development Fund Regulation 2017, which was done under PF, that it did criminalize certain things that spoke to disorder, including just spitting in public places. It is on record, and they did well. And all we are doing is enforcing what our colleagues knew was the right thing to do. But probably what lacked at that point was the boldness to enforce, for which reason I can only speculate. When I was on the radio yesterday, Madam, trying to explain what our position is, the presenter said to me, "Aren't you scared of election loss?" And I said, that is the furthest on my mind. Because I was not born an MP, but I would like to go down in the history of my life as one person who decided that we are going to walk side by side with the law. And so we have to continue. That's why I'm asking for their hands to be able to come with me on the radio station, in the community radio station, and sensitize our citizens that we must go back to normalcy. And at this point, when I was on the radio station, I got a call from one former minister who was a minister presiding in Lusaka. And I must say here that I'm not ashamed to give unwavering and fettered gratitude to an attitude such as that one, where I was encouraged that this matter must depart from it being treated as a political matter, but rather than a matter that is going to see posterity judge us in the correct manner after we have gone. So we will continue to enforce the law using the police, the council police, and citizens. Honorable Nyambose, the toilet, as I spoke yesterday, for these people, our people, were on the trees that stand in the island of Freedom Way, where the stench, you know, those of us who grew up going into police cells every so often, when you go into a police cell, madam, it smells there, but when you go in there for 5-6 minutes, you get acclimatized. People had stopped going into the CBD. With what has happened today, the phone calls that I have got personally are indicating that people want to go back. And those who had run away as a result of clutter and what was going on, left their offices to establish offices in Rhodes Park, Kabulonga, are now going to go back in the CBD. Our role has now been to say, let us paint the buildings. Let us make a way to paint the buildings so that when one comes and says, Naenda town, or I've gone to town, truly, they will go and admire town. Thank you, Honorable Member, for the question.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Iteji.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for giving the people of Itestezi an opportunity to ask the question to the Minister of Local Government. Minister, this is a positive move, and like my colleague did mention, any sane person will have to applaud the step that has been taken. Now, on the day when this cleanup was done, Minister, there were a dozen of dissidents who wanted to do a mini protest against the move, the good move that you took with your ministry. What is your advice in case in their minds they still have those thoughts of demonstrating against this very good intention? What advice are you giving them? Thank you so much.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Madam, thank you, honorable colleague and friend, for that question. Like I said earlier on, managing change is not an easy matter. It isn't an easy matter. It requires courage, it requires boldness, it requires sacrifice. It requires even being unpopular. Now, when I was on the radio station, they played back an audio that said all sorts of things about the head of state, all sorts of things about myself, all sorts of things about UPND. And I then decided, let me take a drive to the CBD myself. And I went there 12 hours. And for sure, honorable colleague, many welcomed the move. They chanted good slogans. And because life is what it is, a few abused me. Physically, those who were courageous, but I could see that they had taken some inebriating liquid. They were drunk. They came and said, we want change, we want change. I said, this is the change, brother. This is it. The next change you want to see will only come after an election. And normally, usually, it is the majority that takes the day. And as some were even trying to pick stones to lynch me, and I said to them, you must never be mistaken that loud is strong and quiet is weak. Because time then to enforce the law. Madam, all this happened without discharge of a single ounce of tear gas. The move that we made. It tells you that we did some consultation, but it doesn't leave no room for people who shall forever remain dissatisfied. But we have to carry them along. We have to find a way to put their feet on solid ground. That is our responsibility as a government. And as I said earlier on, those who came to engage me at the office, some came in tantrums, falling all over the shore in the reception of my office. And when they finished doing the stunts, I said, now we can go and talk. After a long 2-hour meeting, I called the managers. I said, these are our people. Give them accommodation. They are now trading in the market, inside the market. And they called Sewa Minister, which means we are okay. So there will be pockets of resistance who wanted change, but the change is what it is. This is the change. This is the future, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Nyimba.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, without politicking, I'm a converted person on this one. I know politically people might not be in agreement with you, but for me, I think this is the right way to go. And Minister, my question is to you: have you put up measures, or within your party circles, have you, Minister, within your party circles, have you put up measures that come 2026, we are not going to succumb to pressure, bring back the debt back in the city? Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Madam, I want to make a quote from what my boss, my president, said in one of my engagements with him. He said to me, Gary, you know, when we were campaigning, we were telling people we are going to bring order, we will do this, we will do that. When we go into that year you are talking about, we will be turning back to say we did this, we did that. There will be no more promises. So we will be judged by the decisions that we make today. But to answer you more definitively, my dear brother and friend, our state of mind is not that of political patronage or survival through populist decision. I want you to know that in this CBD called Lusaka, our performance in the election was average. We did not win. But our colleagues who were reigning, who allowed this to go, still lost the election. That should tell you something. It should tell you something that Not all that is loud is strong, and that which is weak which is silent is weak. The silent majority, the voice of reason, always prevails over certain unpopular decisions, which most of the time only benefit a handful of people. I referred to the clutter containers that are in Lusaka. Brother and friend, I did my research. I joined my researcher colleague here to find out how it was done. Madam Speaker, this will shock you. It will shock you, but be ready with what I'm about to say. There were some councillors here who sat in Lusaka City Council. I don't see them, two of them. One is around. What used to happen is that the council was supervised by political cadres, because they asked a question about the politics in my party. To say, we have decided we'll build these containers on the drainage. We are sitting in the gallery as you debate. He who says no won't see the door. So the councillors were cowed down to agreeing to unpopular decisions, wrong decisions, like building a shop on top of a drainage, which is about 3 meters long. So that happened. Who are the owners of these shops? One individual, 20 shops. One individual. They have names that rhyme with certain countries. They were popular those days. There you go. One individual, 22 shops. What happened at that time was that, again, I seek indemnification, that the cadre became stronger than the leader, and they held them captive. That is absent with us. Watch my lips, it is absent with us. There is no cadre in UPND who can challenge me to do a wrong thing. No, nothing. And so that's how the election went the other way, because the one who had 22 shops only had 1 vote. So we are not about to backtrack. We are going to ask for your support. That is my mission today, to ask for your support, to work and forget about what went wrong in the past, to work together. For you will also be remembered as having played your part in sanitizing our society.
Thank you. I could see the Honorable Minister of Justice protesting that he won in Lusaka Central. That is his constituency, the CBD. The Honorable Member for Ron.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker and Minister. Thank you very much. The line of my question has been asked by Honorable Member for Chasefu. However, I will realign my question towards the same sustainability, Honorable Minister. In your statistics, you mentioned about 11,000 market spaces in the market, and so far 300 has already started trooping back to the markets. How is your ministry looking at sustaining this whole issue? Are you looking at creating more trading spaces to accommodate the numbers that you have removed from the streets, knowing very well that there are bigger numbers than the spaces in the market? How are you looking at creating more trading spaces? And with your indulgence, Madam Speaker, if I can ask a rider.
No, just one question. The Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Madam, we are solution-oriented. And I want to assure our people who are affected by the decision that we have decided to take to align with the law, that they will be taken care of. We are identifying open and conducive places within the CBD and accommodate them until such a time that we find long-lasting solution of building markets. But we have a bigger task of the cultural shift. I'll take you back, Honorable Member, because you come from the Copper Belt. One president in the past put up a beautiful market in Kitwe called Nakadole. You know the story. People refused to go in there. This is not a small problem that started yesterday. It is a huge problem that requires men to deal with. It doesn't, this is what separates the boys from the men, Madam Speaker. So in terms of sustainability, I want to say that for as long as here in this house, seated here, and operating outside of this house, we can support this, what we have done, it will last. It will last. But we hear voices from some opposition leaders. It is well. It is fine. But by the time judgment comes for posterity, we will know who made the decision that protects people. But we are not about to make populist decisions in order to patronize our citizens. It may be painful, but they say that pain may endure for the night, but joy comes in the morning.
I see that there are 3 honorable members who have indicated. I will allow them since there are only 3. Starting with the honorable member from Mbala, followed by Kabwata, then honorable member for Kaoma.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Indeed, street vending is all over the country. I would like to find out one thing from our able minister. There are those districts that doesn't have enough spaces in the market. How are they going to be treated? Thank you.
The honorable minister of local government and rural development.
Thank you for that question. It shows that you actually truly care. I think the answer was provided in my last intervention from the question from Ron. But for avoidance of any doubt, Madam, and for no fear of any contradiction, what I said is that there are trading places that are not designated, where our citizens have just decided, well, we'll be selling here. Example given is the piece of land between the Kafue flyover bridge and the Universal Church. Those people currently are not in the way of anyone, but they are sitting on someone's titled plot, which is also an illegality. But there is no pressure that requires to take a drastic move. What we need now to do is to engage the title holder of that particular piece of land in a constructive way. And I'm using that as an example to say, can we find you an alternative piece of land so that we can accommodate our people? We legalize this place, we put market, toilets, we put stands, and everybody will be happy. But this is something that the president continuously talks about the method, the pace at which we should move. So there should be a lot of engagement in getting this right, Honorable Member of Mbala. It is not that kind of situation that you can sort out overnight. It is a matter that requires gradual, careful consideration, accommodating of different, various feelings, including abuse. We will take the abuse because they say, mutu mukulu wa mutu sale wa nkoli, which means if you have a big head, they will keep clouting us, but at the end of it all, they will all be laughing. They will be happy.
Thank you very much. For those with big heads, beware. Or for those of us with big heads, the honorable member for Kabwata.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, indeed, there are consequences that usually come with change. And some of the consequences that usually come with that is actually you find a lot of people, like the widows and the orphans, getting affected. Honorable Minister, I know that in places like Kabwata, we have trading spaces or markets with trading spaces that are still empty, and yet people are still trading on the streets. You go to Chawama, equally you still find the same. You go to Mandevu, you still find the same. So meaning that we still have enough trading space. I wanted to find out whether your ministry is going to consider to help also Zambians that are found in communities, like in my constituency in Chawama. We help them also to move from the roads where they are trading from, because it's risky. Are you going to consider helping them so that they go back into the markets and start trading in the rightful places? Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Thank you, Honorable Member of Parliament for Kawata, and for coming to my aid, making the story even much more crystal clear. In Kawata, in Matero, in Chawama, I have been everywhere. In my brother's constituents here, 5 months ago, we went and we shunted our people into the market. They were trading at the bus stop in K Square. And Madam Speaker, satirically, on the day we went there, a child was bashed by a car because of disorder. And we said to them, look at this. Thank you, madam. Look at this. A child has just been hit by a car. Now imagine, madam, those who were selling Salaula before I come to Kawata on the Lumumba Road, which was the original bypass for heavy traffic, trucks. If a truck loses direction there, can you imagine for a second how much loss of life we would incur? Simply because we did not pay attention to the things that we should cherish the most. We will come to Kawata. That's what I said. The way we've been to Kaunda Square. We will go to Ndola. I heard my people in Ndola giving challenges. We're coming. We'll be there. We will have a conversation with you. We will talk to one another, not over each other. We will convince each other. But the final analysis is that we follow the law. That is the bottom line. We will talk to one another, we'll accommodate one another, we'll take the slaps, we'll do that. But if you want to champion, you want to persistently, and this is not a warning, it's just a fact of life. You want to be the champion of disorder. There's a place for people like that. There is a place where they welcome people like that. But we'll talk to each other, we will convince one another, and we'll be happy together.
Thank you. The last question, the Honorable Member for Kaoma.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, I want to join other colleagues who have congratulated you on this very good and noble task that you've just undertaken. My question to you, Honorable Minister, is some time back, I'm sure those who have grown in Lusaka will agree with me that areas like Kablonga, you would admire when you drive around there or walk around. Are you not thinking of extending this good exercise to high residential areas? I'm talking about areas, even these posh houses around our parliament buildings here, where you see people, you realize they have the money, but they are only concentrating in cleaning or maintaining inside the wall fences, and the small patches outside near the roads, they are left unattended to. I'm sure this will go a long way in adding the necessary cleanliness and sanity to our city like we see when we go outside this country. Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Madam, let me thank the Honorable Member for Kaoma for basically saying it as it ought to be. That cleanliness is next to godliness. That's what they say. And it's pointless for you to neglect the surroundings of your dwelling and just clean your bedroom. It is wrong even morally, because here we are dealing with the issues of the balance between legal things and moral things. I think that he has nailed it. The point is that it is the mandate of the ministry that I'm privileged to run to ensure that the surroundings are kept, that they should look green, they should be acceptable to see. Madam, I want to end maybe by saying in a light manner that this statement to me was so important. And how I wish we had provision in our standing orders for it to have come as a motion, so that we put it to a vote to see those who may be against the decision that we have made, so that we can rest this matter and put it to bed permanently, so much so that when time comes for anyone to take the leadership of this country, they do not visit this ugly situation ever, so that we can just move forward. I thank you.
Thank you very much. From my assessment, the whole House is unanimous on this matter. I've been observing. And just to lead by example, here at Parliament, we have launched a Keep Parliament Clean campaign. So together, we can make the country clean again. Thank you. Question for oral answer under Standing Order 74. The Honorable Member for Mulobezi.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Question number 390.
The Honorable Minister of Justice.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the Honorable Member for Mulobezi, Honorable Mabenga, asked the Minister of Justice the following questions. A, whether the government has any plans to construct a magistrate's court building in Mulobezi district. B, if so, when the plans will be implemented. And C, if there are no such plans, why? Madam Speaker, in response, I wish to inform the House that A, the construction of a magistrate's court building in Mulobezi district has been included in the Judiciary of Zambia Infrastructure Development Plan 2021 to 2024. B, the plans to construct a magistrate court building will be implemented in the financial year 2024, according to that plan. And C, as indicated above, the construction of the magistrate's court building in Mulobezi district is part of the judiciary's infrastructure plan. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Mulobezi.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, the magistrate courts, are they going to include staff houses as well? Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Justice.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. According to the standard plan that we are aware of as Ministry of Justice and which has been availed by the judiciary, the court buildings do have staff houses as part of the infrastructure to be developed. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. We can make progress. The next question, the Honorable Member for Chitambo.
Question number 391, Madam Speaker.
Her Honor, the Vice President.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. In response to the question asked by the Honorable Member for Chitambo, who wants to know whether the government is aware that the road network in the Katikulula resettlement scheme in Chitambo district is in a deplorable state. The response to that is yes, government is aware of the state of roads in the Katikulula resettlement scheme. The roads were last worked on between 2004 and 2009, so we can imagine. In B, he wants to know that if so, what measures the government is taking to ease the movement of people and goods within and out of the resettlement scheme. And the response is, Madam Speaker, government has conducted a feasibility study of the road network at Katikulula resettlement scheme and has proposed to improve at least 14.7 kilometers of the road network before the end of 2023. The area member of Parliament may further wish to note that government, through the Ministry of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development is conducting a feasibility of the feeder roads to ensure that all the phases of the scheme are linked. Part C, he wants to know when the rehabilitation works of the road network will commence. Madam Speaker, the procurement of a contractor for the 14.7 kilometers have commenced. Indicative scope of works from the pre-feasibility or from the feasibility is pointing to mainly grading only as the works for this year. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Supplementary questions? The Honorable, looks like there are no. Honorable Member for Chitambo, you are satisfied? Okay, he is satisfied. At least acknowledge that you are satisfied. On a lighter note, don't worry. So we make progress. Next question, the Honorable Member for Mandevu.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The people of Mandevu would like to ask question number 393.
Sorry, when I saw it, also again, sorry, Honorable Member for Mandevu, I skipped. Next question, the Honorable Member for Chitambo.
Question number 392, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much. I shall also endeavor to answer in such a way that there will be no follow-up question. The Honorable Member for Chitambo is asking the following question. A, when the construction of offices at the Chitambo District Administration Center will commence? And B, what has caused the delays in commencing the project? The answer, Madam Speaker, is as follows. The construction of offices at Chitambo District Administration Center will commence with once funds are secured by the Treasury. The delay in commencing the project is due to the constrained fiscal space. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. I see there are no further questions. Today, what has happened? I thought this answer would attract a few questions. Okay, thank you. Next question, the Honorable Member for Mandevu.
Madam Speaker, question number 393.
The Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Madam Speaker, the Honorable Member of Parliament for Mandevu constituency, Mr. Christopher Shaka Fuso, is asking the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development at A, whether the government has any plans to rehabilitate and tar some township roads in Mandevu parliamentary constituency, and at B, if so, when the plans will be implemented. At C, how many kilometers will be covered in each of the wards, and D, what the estimated cost of the project will be, and at E, what estimated time frame for the completion of the project. Our response. The government has indeed plans to rehabilitate and tar some township roads in the constituency, Mandevu parliamentary constituency. Partial implementation of the plans have commenced as part of the rehabilitation and upgrading of township roads in Lusaka, where Mandevu is. The works relating to Mandevu constituency include part of the 4.9 kilometer road called Makishi Road and improvements to the junctions at Chipata Clinic and Chipata Compound along Kasangula Road. The project cost is 226 million kwachas, which includes other selected township roads in Lusaka, include Zengalume Road as well as the road in Nyukasama. The overall project is expected to be completed in the next 24 months. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Supplementary questions? Today, I don't know whether it's a form of protest or we are doing very well. Whatever it is, we are making progress. Questions for oral. Next question, the Honorable Member for Lufanyama.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question 394.
The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Honorable Member for Fanyama asks the Minister of Agriculture when government will allocate land to farmers who were displaced from Luswishi farming block and other farms in Lufanyama parliamentary constituency, and B, Madam Speaker, whether the government is aware that some investors who displaced the farmers above have not developed their farmlands since 2017. Madam Speaker, our response is as follows. A, there are no farmers that have been displaced from Luswishi farm block or any other farms under government control in Lufanyama parliamentary constituency. Government policy regarding the farm block, Madam Speaker, does not support unnecessary displacement of people. Instead, we promote integration with the host communities. In B, Madam Speaker, no investor has displaced any farmer in Luswishi farm block. However, government is aware.
All the honorable members, there is a lot of talking. Can we tone down as we listen to the Honorable Minister of Agriculture? May the Minister continue.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. However, government is aware of a considerable number of investors who have not developed their farms since they were allocated. The land audit exercise that we conducted in April 2022 provided information on the land utilization. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. Supplementary questions, the Honorable Member for Lufanyama.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I want to thank you for giving me an opportunity to ask a supplementary question over the same. Madam Speaker, there are quite a number of farmers who are just along Kasempa Road who have not been allocated by the Minister of Land. And I want to find out from the Minister if he is aware that these farmers came from the same farming block, which, was allocated to the farming block. We have got 100 hectares, which we have in Rufanyama, which was allocated. Some farmers were given 10,000 hectares, 5,000 hectares. Out of this land, there are some people who have been displaced and they are living along the land. They are along the road which is going to Kasempa. Thank you so much, Madam Speaker.
Honorable members, again, please, can we maintain some silence? The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We are aware, Madam Speaker, that a number of farmers opted to be compensated and willingly moved out of Lufanyama so that, of the farm block, to allow others to cultivate the land. We are also aware that some of these, Madam Speaker, could be the ones that the Honorable Member is talking about. To assist us get their names would be useful so that we see, because the information at the ministry is that no one was displaced forcefully unless those who opted to be compensated. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Lufanyama.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just want to find out from the Minister if these investors who have not developed the land from 2017 up to now, because it's HQ, which is superseding over these farmers who are in Fanyama. It's not the local council. So what I would like to find out to the minister is, when are these farmers going to develop this land, which they have been allocated to? Because, Madam Speaker, from 2017 up to now, the land is a bush. There are laws which compels a person who has been allocated land to develop it within that specific period. Now, these investors are still keeping the land empty, and the agreement which was given to the local farmers was that if you are displaced, you are going to be employed, your land is going to be developed. The plans which are there, Madam Speaker, if you see it, it's a city in Rufanyama, but it's still a bush now. What, Honorable Minister, are you going to do to these farmers? Are you going to repossess the land so that it's given to the competent investors? I want to thank the Provincial Minister and Minister of Lands who have come to rescue me, because these farmers, Madam Speaker, almost beat us. The Provincial Minister is there, the Minister of Land is there, but we went there and we caught them. Up to now, these investors have not done anything, Madam Speaker. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. That is a point of fact which the Honorable Member for Rufanyama has brought. There are a number of farmers, indeed, as I indicated, that we are aware of them, and some of them are also politically exposed persons with huge tracts of land. I know that is exactly where the Honorable Member is leading to. We are in the process of discussing with the Ministry of Lands to repossess these pieces of land. Madam Speaker, even those that are under title and are not being utilized, there is a process that can be taken to get this land off them. So I want to assure the Honorable Member, and for those who are listening to our discussion, that if you do not use your land, you are going to be taken out, because that is one of the preconditions of farming blocks. So if the Honorable Member is one such, he should use his land, Madam Speaker, because we will take it away from him. I thank you.
Thank you. Next question, the Honorable Member for Sikongo.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Question number 395.
The Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Madam Speaker, Mr. Simushi, the Honorable Member of Parliament for Sikongo, is asking the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development at A, whether Lusaka City Council had any outstanding employee loan deduction remittances to the National Savings and Credit Bank, NATSAVE, as of 2022 November. And if so, how much money was outstanding? At C, what measures are being taken to remit the money? And at D, whether there is or there are councils countrywide that owed the bank as of the date stated at A above. Our response: Lusaka City Council had unpaid staff loan remittances owed to NATSAVE as of 2022 November. As at this date, the council owed NATSAVE 6,039,093 kwacha only, and 3 ngwe, only. Further, the council owed 8 million kwacha in accumulated interest and penalties. This gives a total of 14,639,093 kwacha and 33 ngwe. However, the council is negotiating with the bank on the interest and also penalties. At C, Madam Speaker, the council cleared the outstanding amounts for periods 2021 and 2022. Further, a payment plan with NATSAVE was agreed upon on liquidating the outstanding recoveries accruing from the periods 2018, 2019, and 2020. The agreed plan is for the Council to pay 250,000 kwacha on a weekly basis, translating to a monthly payment of 1 million kwacha towards liquidating the unremitted recoveries. At D, apart from the Lusaka City Council, there are 3 other councils that owe NatSave, namely Luansha, Ndola, and Chongwe. That's owe money to NatSave in unpaid remittances for staff loans. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Sikongo.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Minister, for that response. I'm happy to hear that the modalities have been put in place to help recover the money. But maybe the question I have is, are those modalities in full swing right now as we speak or not?
The Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Thank you, Honorable Member. I am quite certain in my mind that had there been any default on this payment schedule, my staff members who prepared this statement would not have misled me. So I'll take it that they are on course.
Thank you. The next question, the Honorable Member for Mulobezi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question number 396.
The Honorable Minister of Education.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Member of Parliament for Mulobezi asks the Minister of Education, A, whether the government has any plans to construct additional classroom blocks and staff houses at the following schools which were upgraded to combined schools in Mulobezi district: 1, Wina; 2, Kamanga; and 3, Nawinda. B, if so, when the plans will be implemented, and C, if there are no such plans, why? Madam Speaker, I wish to inform the House that A, the government has plans to construct additional classroom blocks and staff houses at Wina and Nawinda schools in the Mulobezi district, which were upgraded to secondary school. You may note that Kamanga is a primary school, not an upgraded secondary school. However, we have earmarked the construction of Kamanga Day Secondary School near the said primary school. And the school will be constructed under the ZIP project, and this project is scheduled to commence before the end of 2023. B, the plans will be implemented in the 2024 to 2026 medium-term budget plan and subject to availability of the funds. And C, the project's cost will only be known when a detailed planning and costing is established, taking into account the engineering designs and the market price of materials that will inform the bill of quantity. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. Supplementary questions? I see none. The next question, Honorable Member for Chitambo.
Question number 397, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Honorable Member for Chitambo wishes to know when the cassava milling plant in the Mochinka ward of Chitambo parliamentary constituency will be operationalized and officially commissioned. And B, Madam Speaker, what has caused the delay in commissioning the plant? Madam Speaker, our response is as follows. The Chitambo cassava milling plant is an activity that is being implemented under the Value Chain Development and Market Linkages component of the Agriculture Productivity and Market Enhancement Project, APMEP, which the Ministry is implementing with the support of the Africa Development Bank. The cassava milling plant, Madam Speaker, was installed at a cost of 75 million kwacha and has an output capacity of 120 metric tons, of which 48 is cassava meal, 48 is, another 48 is bran, and 24, Madam Speaker, let me give him a correct information here, sorry. 48 is cassava meal, 48 is starch, and 24 is the bran. So it has a total of 120. The plant, Madam Speaker, was handed over to the ministry in September 2021. However, operations could not start immediately as it required the establishment of a legal entity to run the plant on behalf of government. In order to resolve the above issue, government engaged the Industrial Development Corporation, IDC, to partner with the Ministry of Agriculture in the operationalization of Chitambo Cassava Milling Plant. IDC has incorporated Chitambo Agro Processing Limited with 70%, with 70% ownership of IDC and 30% of the District Cooperative Union. The IDC then embarked on a feasibility study to ascertain the commercial and technical viability of the project. This was to ensure that the project was aligned to the corporation's investment policy and guidelines. In addition, the IDC had to source an additional funding of 15 million to facilitate installation of a weighbridge, establishment of an aggregation center, and procurement of the cassava feedstock. Further, Madam Speaker, IDC embarked on a recruitment of 40 staff members to work at a plant, a process which is almost complete. The cassava milling plant, Madam Speaker, is expected to be commissioned by October 2023, after putting in place all the issues that I highlighted. And B, Madam Speaker, the delay in commissioning the plant has been principally caused by the process involved in securing the IDC as an equity partner, followed by the recruitment process, which required certain authorization to be obtained before the recruitment could be actualized, as some critical activities required for the commencement of operations could only be undertaken when the staff were in place. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. Supplementary questions? I see none. We move. Next question, the Honorable Member for Lufanyama.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question 398.
The Honorable Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. They say Tondolo Musumba. Madam Speaker.
Meaning?
Silence is golden. Yeah. Madam Speaker, the Honorable Member for Fanyama is asking the Ministry two questions. A, whether government has any plans to construct roads in the farming area allocated to ex-miners in Luswishi Ward, in Rufanyama Parliamentary Constituency, and B, if so, when plans will be implemented. We answer as follows, Madam Speaker. The government has plans to construct roads in the farming area allocated to ex-miners in Luswishi Ward in Rufanyama Parliamentary Constituency. B, the plans will be implemented once Treasury secures the required funds. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. Supplementary questions? Today is picture, no sound. The next question, the Honorable Member for Mulobezi.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. This being the last question, the good people of Mulobezi are wishing the Copper Queens a win over Japan. Question number 399. Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Health.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the Honourable Member, Mr. Mavenga, is asking the Minister of Health, when construction of Phase 2 of Mlobezi Level 1 Hospital, which is a district hospital, will commence, and B, what the cause of the delay in commencing the project is. Our response, Madam Speaker, is as follows. The commencement of the construction of Phase 2 of Mlobezi Level 1 Hospital in Mlobezi District will only be known once the successful bidder has been selected. B, Madam Speaker, the delays in commencement of the project has been caused by limited fiscal space that led to government prioritizing projects that were at 80% and above for this year, 2023. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much. Supplementary questions. The Honourable Member for Zambezi East.
Madam Speaker, when it comes to hospitals, I get so much attached because I'm one of those who is highly affected by places which don't have hospitals, district hospitals. I want to find out from the Honourable Minister if you could give an assurance of the date, like you did with Zambezi District Hospital, when this issue would actually be settled, to assure us that Mlobezi people will have their district hospital as and when they need it. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honourable Minister of Health.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Honourable, for your follow-up question. The story, Madam Speaker, concerning the 36 district hospitals countrywide, which projects have taken such a long time, and it's regrettable, almost some of them over 10 years now, is that you recall, Madam Speaker, last year, I think when this question came, we did indicate that as a policy of government of this new Dawn administration, it was agreed that rather than deal with these issues in phase form, where you have phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 of a district hospital, we were of the view that we should complete even a few than littering resources towards all the 36 districts, and thereby taking so long, and by the time you realize the cost has even tripled. And these are the challenges that we faced, wherein some contractors that had initially been contracted, we could not agree on the price. And so it meant that in some cases we had to re-advertise. Now, this is what we have resolved. What we have resolved what we resolved last year, 2022, in this matter, when we faced this matter, was we agreed that rather than doing everything at the same time, let's say those projects that were at 80%, let us budget for those and complete them. The good news, Madam Speaker, is that out of the 36 district hospitals, we're able to budget for 20 district hospitals. And our hope was and is that all these 20 hospitals that were at 80% would be completed by end of 2023. Unfortunately, as we advertised for new contractors, as we negotiated with the old contractors, we were able to convince 16 contractors or 16 hospitals
20, sorry, out of the 36. And so far, of the 20 districts, 7 fell off. Meaning, if you subtract 7 districts from 20, you remain with how many? 23? 13, yes. So what this means is that 13 districts will be completed this year because we planned for that last year. We budgeted for that. Resources were made available. Contractors were, renegotiated and agreed. So 13 of the 20 shall be completed. Unfortunately, of these which are going to be completed, Mulobezi is not one of them. Why? Because Mulobezi District Hospital did not fall within the 80% level of construction that we found. What are we going to do? What we have resolved is that for the next year's budget, whilst we'll be completing the 13, the balance of the 16 plus the 7 which have fallen off, which is 23, we have taken the decision that we plan, budget, and complete the 23, which will be 2024. And we hope that by so doing, we can finish this long story of district hospitals with one leg, which really, even if we call them districts, are not giving district level services at all, and completely complete so that by next year, end of next year, we should be able to proudly say we have 20, 27, 36 completed districts. So, Madam Speaker, that is the only government assurance that I can give today. And I hope to God that it shall come to pass. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Mulobezi.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, is there anything that you can do for your staff? Because the nurses, the doctors, they have no accommodation. They have to walk 7 kilometers going and 7 kilometers coming back in the bush, even during rainy season. Is there anything that we can do, meanwhile, so that they have accommodation? Honorable Minister, thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Health.
Is there anything that can be done? Is there anything that is being done right now concerning the situation in Mulobezi? I'm informed that there is a theater at Sichili Mission Hospital, which is currently operational, and also a mortuary functional at Sichili Mission Hospital. Unfortunately, this is 7 kilometers from the district hospital, 7 kilometers from Sichili Mission Hospital, although they're able to conduct maternity and other services. Mulobezi District Hospital doesn't have those facilities, but we have officers that are having to walk because there are no houses. The issue of housing, Madam Speaker, according to the plan for these hospitals, was supposed to be under phase 3. This is why I said that the plan of constructing district hospital in phases has proved that it's not a good plan. It's better to start and finish few hospitals at a given time than trying to be over-ambitious and say we are constructing 116 district hospitals or 100 district hospitals and then take 15 years to complete, or 20 years, or even never. So, as I've said, the best way that we have agreed, I think, which is a positive way forward, as has been shown, Madam Speaker, that from 36 for this year's budget, we planned for 20. And that 20, the resources were made available, the resources were also released. Except that 7 of the 20 will not immediately be constructed because the contractors that were engaged from the beginning have refused to accept the offer. Only 13 have agreed. This is why I've said for the 13, we shall finish this year. But the other 7, we have to carry forward and make sure that we budget enough resources for the rest. We are also looking at reducing the 7, maybe to 5, by way of finding other contractors that can construct the 5 at a slightly higher than what was projected. But all these issues are still in the negotiation process, and we can only wait, Madam Speaker. I know the challenges the people of Lomezi and elsewhere are facing, but this is what it is. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member from Mulobezi.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, is it possible that you can come to Mulobezi and come and see the suffering of the people there and see the hospital, the new hospital which is falling apart? Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Health, you are being invited to go to Mulobezi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Yes, I will go there. Thank you.
The Honorable Member for Luena.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, it's refreshing to see that your ministry is adopting a methodical approach to this long-standing issue of incomplete district hospitals, just like it is in Luena, and I think a government assurance was given last year for Zambezi. Now Mulobezi is making a follow-up. Are you in a position at this stage to share the names of the district hospitals that will be completed, the 13 that you are looking to complete this year? Thank you.
I don't know whether the Honorable Minister will be ready with that answer. It's an expanded question. The Honorable Minister of Health, do we have an answer?
I can try, Madam Speaker. You have helped us, Madam Speaker, with the links. We're able to link to files and be able to see whether it is possible, but
otherwise, it's a new question. Maybe the Honorable Member for Luena can just put in a new question. We need to make progress.
I can give him the information.
Okay, proceed then, Honorable Minister.
No, I mean as we...
Yes, I think it's better.
Yes. I'm inviting to my chair, to my seat. I will be able to open the iPad and give him the answer. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we have exhausted this. There is Honorable Member for Chifuvu. Is it a new question, Honorable Member for Chifuvu?
Yes, Madam. Thank you. I want to thank the Minister of Health, also for Chifuvu constituents for the Level 1 hospital, which will be completed in September this year. Thank you so much to your ministry. To the people of Mulobezi, Honorable Minister, following the lamentations from the Honorable MP from Mulobezi, you have said that you have 7 as a balance that you are yet to complete this year. And since you are taking this methodical approach, in the next phase, are you including Mulobezi, considering the challenges that are currently in Mulobezi? Is Mulobezi also on the next target of the set of district hospital that you intend to undertake and complete? Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Health.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Honorable, for at least recognizing that we are really doing our best under very difficult circumstances that we found. The answer is yes. Mulobezi and the rest of the districts where construction started in the last 10 years and was not completed will be captured in the year 2024. As I indicated, Madam Speaker, our intention is that we complete all these, even to the extent that we may not even prefer to start something new when we have old hospitals that have not been completed. So next year, starting from this year to next year, it is the intention of this government to plan and budget for all the 36 district hospitals that have been standing without completion. Thank you.
Thank you. The clerk will now read the orders of the day.
The Environmental Management Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 6 of 2023, report stage.
The Honorable Minister of Green Economy and Environment.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the report of the committee be adopted.
As no notice has been received of any further amendment, is it your wish that the report of the committee be adopted? Any objection? I see none. Report adopted. Day of third reading?
Tomorrow, Madam Speaker.
Third reading of the bill to be taken tomorrow, Friday, 21st July 2023. Next order.
The National Prosecution Authority Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 7 of 2023, report stage.
The Honorable Minister of Justice.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the report of the committee be adopted.
As no notice has been received of any further amendment, is it your will that the report of the committee be adopted? Any objection? I see none. Report adopted. Day for third reading?
Tomorrow, Madam Speaker.
Third reading of the bill to be taken tomorrow, Friday, 21st July 2023. Next order.
The Human Rights Commission Bill, National Assembly Bill number 8 of 2023, report stage.
Order, honorable members. The Honorable Minister of Justice.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the report of the committee be adopted.
As no notice has been received of any further amendment, is it your will that the report of the committee be adopted? Any objection? I see none. Report adopted. Day of third reading?
Tomorrow, Madam Speaker.
Third reading of the bill to be taken tomorrow, Friday, 21st July 2023. Next order.
The Zambia Institute of Valuation Surveyors, National Assembly Bill number 9 of 2023, report stage.
The Honorable Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the report of the committee be adopted.
As no notice has been received of any further amendment, is it your will that the report of the committee be adopted? Any objection? I see none. Report adopted. Day of third reading?
Tomorrow, Madam Speaker.
Third reading of the bill to be taken tomorrow, Friday, 21st July 2023. Her Honor the Vice President, adjournment.
Madam
Order,
Speaker.
order. Order, honorable members, order. You may proceed.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the House do now adjourn.
The question is that the House do now adjourn. Any debate? Any objection? The question is agreed to. The House? Is now adjourned.
Good afternoon. There you have it. That note brings us to the end of today's live parliamentary proceedings. Today, Thursday, 20th July 2023. Time now to look at business that has been transacted on the floor of the House from the time business started at 14:30 hours. Matimba?
There was a ministerial statement. Madam Speaker permitted the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Honorable Gary Nkombo, to render a ministerial statement on the removal of street vendors. So the Minister did say that various reasons have been put forward by those perpetuating street vending as justification for trading from the streets. And so this includes ease of customer access, inadequate trading places, and inadequate initial services, including water and sanitation facilities.
The Minister did say that the problem of street vendors is not new to Zambia. The problem can be traced as far back as the post-colonial era, which became more pronounced after the 1991 following the liberalization of the economy. He did say that in a continued effort to address the growing problem of street vending, the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development in the last quarter of 2022 directed the Lusaka City Council to undertake an audit of available market spaces or stands in Lusaka, as well as to conduct a head count of street vendors in the central business district, and further engagements were undertaken with various vendors through their respective associations to build consensus and find a solution to street vending.
The Minister also did say that following the consultations, consensus was built among stakeholders to address the street vending and restore sanity in the central business district. And so the Minister did say that being a government centered on restoring law and order, it is on this basis that the Ministry moved to clear the street vendors in line with the Market and Bus Station Act of 2007 of the laws of Zambia, which considers street vending an illegal act. And so the street vendors have been urged to go back to the markets that have empty spaces.
That's the ministerial statement that was delivered by the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Honorable Gary Nkombo, on the removal of street vendors. After that ministerial statement, the House went on to consider 10 questions for oral answer understanding order number 74, and we'll just go through some of these questions and their responses. Mr. Mabenga of Mulobezi did ask the Minister of Justice whether the government has any plans to construct a magistrates court building in Mulobezi district, and the Minister of Justice did say that government does have plans, that the magistrates court building in Mulobezi has been included in the judiciary infrastructure development plan, and the Member of Parliament wanted to find out when the plans will be implemented, and the Minister did say that the plans will be implemented in 2024.
Another question came from Chitambo Member of Parliament, Mr. Remember Mutale, who posed this question to the Vice President. He wanted to find out in A, whether the government is aware that the road network in Katikululu resettlement scheme in Chitambo district is in deplorable state, and the Vice President did respond to say that yes, government is aware of the deplorable state of the roads in Katikululu resettlement scheme, and so the road was last worked on between 2004 and 2009. In the B part of the question, the Member of Parliament wanted to find out, if so, what measures the government is taking to ease the movement of people and goods within and out of the resettlement scheme, and so the Vice President responded to say that government has conducted a feasibility study of the road network at Katikululu resettlement scheme. And in the C part of the question, the Member of Parliament wanted to find out when the rehabilitation works of the road network will commence, and the Vice President responded to say that the procurement for the contractor to work on a 14.7 kilometer road has commenced.
Mr. Mutaleo also did ask the Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development when the construction of offices at the Chitambo District Administrative Center will commence. In response, the Minister did say that construction of the offices will commence once funds are secured by the Treasury, and the Member of Parliament wanted to find out what the cause of the delay in commencing the project is, and the Minister did say that this is due to constrained physical space.
Another question came from Lufanyama, Member of Parliament, Mr. Sia Chisumo, who posed this question to the Minister of Agriculture. He wanted to find out when the government will allocate land to farmers who are displaced from Swish Farming Block and other farms in Wanyama Parliamentary